Gilbert Arenas talked about in 1992, the Olympics, no one talked bad about Michael Jordan and the Dream Team. Now, obviously, this was before you were born, right? But let me ask you, since because you're young, did you ever hear people talk bad about Michael Jordan before you got into the media space?
Talk bad about Michael Jordan? Nah, not really, to be honest with you.
Not really.
Nah, not really.
Not really. So you will always hear like the most positive things you can think of, huh?
Yeah. By MJ, yep.
Well, that is true. And it's not because Michael Jordan did no wrong. That's not the case. Michael Jordan inspired millions of people, and I'm part of that group. Obviously, guys like LeBron is part of that group. Wearing number 23. And 23 wasn't popular until Michael Jordan did it. Michael Jordan was the first of his kind. Like, he really changed the way we view basketball. So every praise that he gets, he deserves. Every fan that he has, he deserves. But one of the reasons why you really didn't hear too much negativity when it came to the 90s basketball is because they was in rebranding early on. So 1992 was the early 90s, obviously, but that was right before or right after, what's his name? David Stern. David Stern did a deal for $600 million over 4 years. You think they're going to have people talking bad about the product? You think in a rebranding stage they're going to have people talking bad about the product? It was no, and it's not the fact. It's not like Michael Jordan didn't have bad games. As a hooper, real hooper, former hooper, old hooper, new hooper, young hooper, there were times you had a bad game. Plenty of times if you played a lot. Michael Jordan is no exception. He had bad games. But you're not going to hear about it. Obviously, social media wasn't around, so nobody was going to tweet it. Nobody was going to share it, repost it. Nobody was going to do all that. So it wasn't there. And then you got to also understand this when it comes to the rebranding. They were coming out of a rival era. So as you know, Lakers, Boston Celtics were rivals. But a lot of that rival had to do with race. Boston Celtics had over 9 white American players. The Lakers had, I believe, 8. And right before the 80s, it was almost like crazy to see more than 3 black players on the same team. Like, this is like 78, 79. So David Stern jumps in and he gets bigger deals. So now he got to make the NBA look friendly. So what better way than to do a deal and then make sure we have no negativity? Not to mention some of the gimmicks they had for the players. Why would Larry Johnson need to dress up like a woman? Why would he need to dress up like a woman to sell a shoe? Grandmama? Why would he have to do that? I don't mind it. Get your money, player. But I'm just saying. Shaq, you might say Shaq was a rapper. He was. But he was a very kid-friendly rapper. He didn't cuss. Shaq was in movies where he was a damn genie. He was a genie. Space Jam, 96. Jordan, the Looney Tunes. The Puppets with Anthony Hardaway. These things happen because you had to keep a friendly brand. You had, and remember, basketball wasn't global just yet. It was global, but it was like people didn't think it would work a decade before. They didn't think it would work. David Stern was you're not talking about the product. You want to interview Michael? Make sure it's all positive stuff. Hey, who you? Your name E? Didn't I see your report about Charles Barkley and the X, Y, and Z? Nah, don't let him get an interview. That's how it works. That's how it worked. So when you think about how Jordan was perceived and the way people see him now, is because it was almost crazy to talk bad about him. It was almost crazy to challenge who he played against. You didn't hear debates like, yeah, Jordan won, but he never beat Bird. You didn't hear these debates. Jordan was good, but Hakeem Olajuwon got a better record over him, and they almost went like a 7-year stretch where it wasn't winning in Houston. So you didn't hear that. So and I think that's the difference in the legacies. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he got 6 rings. Some people are like, yo, why they don't never talk about he wasn't media friendly. He wasn't media. He was running around with Muhammad Ali. He was cool with those guys. So you got to understand, the NBA didn't want to get behind that. They didn't want to back that up. Look at Jordan, clean cut brother, bald, no facial hair, no nothing. No nothing. I remember when I was in school and we was doing marketing. This was a marketing class. And they was talking about how a trustworthy face doesn't have hair on it. They was like, look at the presidents. How many times you see the presidents with a goatee? You never see a president with a goatee. You never see a president with a beard. Imagine your president letting his beard hang. They like, nah.
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln. Mm-hmm. That wasn't media. There wasn't no media around Abraham Lincoln.
Good point.
Right. So that a clean face. Shit, I don't even remember when Jordan started losing hair. I don't even remember when Jordan started losing hair. Like, when did Jordan ain't never had like the convertible top. You ain't never see the hair with the convertible top. You start to see LeBron, his shit was leaving. Jordan just, one day he was hooping with hair, next day bald. Bald, no face. I never even seen Jordan with a mustache, nothing. But that's what is all part of the marketing scheme. Same thing with Shaq. Shaq was like 22, bald. How? A fresh baldy at 22? Like, what you doing, Shaq? Shaq went from the Gumby, bald. Shaq would grow his hair for music and then play bald. I'm telling you, you wasn't seeing none of this stuff. The outlier of the 90s that shook up everything, Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson shook up everything. He changed a lot when it comes to the culture of basketball. He would come in, white tee, homies, everybody, bang, let's roll. David Stern said, nah, y'all gotta put some suits on. Come dressed to impress. So Gil right. You wasn't hearing nothing about Jordan, bro.